Good morning. Hello,
Morning.
everyone. Thank you for attending today's webinar, where we're going to talk about recent commercial changes, touch on NCE. I'm Tori. I head up the product and licensing team at Cisilion. I've been with the company for 4 years and I've worked in the licensing arena for a lot longer than that. I'm accompanied by James in my team. James, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. Thank you very much. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today. As Troy said, I'm part of her team. I'm a licensing specialist. Recently joined Sicilian, and as you can hear, I'm South African, but my licensing knowledge goes cross borders. So, pleasure to be here.
Thanks, James. And joined by some special guests today. I'm going to let David introduce the team, but please can I introduce you all to David Hall from Banham Security. Over to you, David.
Hi, I'm David from Banham Security, which is a security company approaching 100 years old. I manage the infrastructure function at Banham, so I tend to get involved at a higher level with Cisilion. The lower level stuff is handled by my colleagues, Roy and Jenna, who can introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Roy. I'm the IT support manager. I'm mainly responsible for ensuring that all support cases are dealt with within SLA, looking at ongoing analytical license issues or trends, and also looking at forecasting as well.
Hi, I'm Jenna, and I'm the lead IT support engineer, and I'm usually the main point of contact for Cisilion when it comes to things like the licensing deployment and utilization. And I'm also responsible for the majority of our support cases to Microsoft via Cisilion.
Thanks, guys. Thank you again. I've said it a few times and I'll probably say it again at the end, but really appreciate you joining and showing your support today. It's great to work with you guys, but sometimes it's difficult to get customers to attend and support, so can't honestly thank you enough. And then moving swiftly on into the topic of our conversation today, all things Microsoft CSP, NCE, ever-changing commercial landscape. So not going to present through the entire presentation, but I thought it would be worthwhile highlighting some of the changes that have gone on. I don't think it's surprising that there's a lot of content on this slide. Lots of us know there's been more change in the last 24 months than there has in the last 10 years from a Microsoft CSP and commercial perspective. Those changes really started back in March 2022, when Microsoft announced it would be increasing the price of the 6 items displayed on the slide. Those items went up in price due to a number of factors. From a Microsoft perspective, they'd been pouring investment into the platforms. We've seen hundreds of thousands of updates to the individual products and bundled SKUs, as well as the introduction of M365 and the new E5 SKU, which encompassed all of the security products into a single bundle. So that started the price change journey. Following the introduction of that price increase, Microsoft then introduced NCE. So NCE was a significant change. New, fixed, flex. David, correct me if I'm wrong, but during the transition over to Cisilion, that was kind of when Banham moved from the traditional legacy CSP, flex up and down when you like, into the new CSP realm.
That's right, yeah. It was difficult to manage because obviously we'd signed up and then had to stick with one. If we added more, we couldn't co-term anything.
No. So NCE obviously gave choices in terms of fixed and flex. Banham tend to go for a fixed because budgeting, is important, and flexibility now comes at a 20% increase. Has that changed the way in which Banham operate their licensing model? Probably a question for you, Jenna, in terms of the day-to-day admin. I think we've lost your audio.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can fix that.
We can't hear you, Jenna. Sorry, let's maybe circle back.
Yeah, 100%. We'll circle back to that question. I do have some questions for you guys later in the deck. So changes to billing, fixed and flexed. We mentioned the word coterm. We see lots of customers face different types of billing issues off of the back of NCE. What impacts does it have from a license perspective in terms of contract values, renewals? Some of those areas James is going to cover later during the session today. But I think one to call out is new products. Currently, there's no ability to coterm new products. So if you add new subscriptions outside of an initial purchase period, those new subscriptions obviously come with their own start and end date. So from a commercial perspective, procurement perspective, admin and management perspective, activities are occurring 2 to 3 times a year, opposed to one change at an anniversary, if you like, of your initial order. So something that we are keen to help customers with. Lots of the services that Cisilion offer are all based on a value add. So we like to listen to what our customers have to say, their concerns, those challenges, and do our best to address those, providing reporting services, and of course license advice. So looking into what are you buying and not just looking to renew based on what you're consuming today. So final change is one that probably everyone's facing now. It is kind of renewal season following the compelling changes. Microsoft obviously channel follows suit, and therefore we have now got this kind of window where lots of organisations are looking to renew their NCE between October and February. So anybody that renewed before 1st of April last year will now start to see the increase of that 9% at their renewal. So looking at things that like user persona mapping and making sure you commit to the right SKUs, you lock in specific products where you can to avoid any further price increases, although not mentioned yet, but Microsoft have said that they will be reviewing the commercial pricing across global alignment on a twice annual basis. So of course any announcements that are made, we will be the first to announce to our customers, give everybody as much notice as possible. It goes along with kind of global economic turmoil that we're seeing, so no surprise. So Jenna, I think your audio should be back now.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So I was putting you on the spot really and asking you a question about the change in terms of having to pay 20% extra for Flex, and has that changed the way in which Banham now purchase their licenses?
It helps that because we're purchasing the licenses in this manner, we don't have to worry such as co-terming. This means at the end of the year, we know that this is what we're getting, so we don't have to have something in 6 months and 12 months. It's helpful to have it in this manner.
Yeah.
Great. Good to know. So, guys, anyone else got anything that they'd like to comment on with regards to the changing landscape? I'm going to break this down in the commercial world.
I just want one. So in terms of cost, so what's the whole reason for them to keep? Is it just because obviously different products? Why is it constantly kind of increasing? It seems like.
So if you ask me, there's 3 main catalysts behind change. The first one is the product-based increase, and that was based off of investment. Microsoft had not increased the price of these products since they'd brought them to market, and after 10 years of significant investments and updates, Microsoft saw it fit that they should now start to increase the price of these products. I think we all know we've seen a significant amount of transformation in terms of modern desktop and what was available from a CSP perspective. You know, 10 years ago, we were all talking about moving Exchange online and ADFS type services. Whereas today, you know, the main focus of the conversations that I'm having is around the security stack. As an example, EM&S was launched about 18 months after I personally saw an initial uptake of customers looking to adopt cloud-based services in comparison to the on-prem. And then Microsoft brought out M365. So from a product perspective, I think the increase is easy to understand when you look at the number of components and products that are included when Office 365 was first launched in comparison to 10 years later for the March 2022. The second one is literally the change of licensing. So the introduction of NCE means that if you want that flexible model and the ability to decrease, it now comes at a premium. And that premium is 20% more. So that one's the only one that could really be avoided, Roy, isn't it? Because you could decide to fix your licenses. You don't want to have the ability to decrease, then you can avoid paying that 20% premium. And then finally, this year's announcement for global alignment. Microsoft operating multi-territories, so it's as simple as it should be a level playing field for all territories, for all Microsoft partners to be able to transact with customers. So bridging the gap between USD and other global currencies to ensure wherever you buy, you're paying the same price. Unfortunately, that meant the UK's prices went up 9%, Europe 11%, whereas the US stayed where it was. Any other questions, guys? Comments? Nope.
All good, thank you.
It's not really a choice, is it? It's something we all have to accept. Luckily, we you know, we have as much time to run up to that as possible, given the fact that you could renew before 1st of April, meaning you could defer the impact of that price increase for 12 months. But it is inevitable, and we'll catch up with you over time. So I think back to the deck would be good, just to display what does that mean? Because I'm about the commercials, and I know that that's what drives majority of customers' decision making. So if we were to look at the impact of the commercial change over time, for just E1, so just picking on one product for now for the purpose of the example, we can see that taking the different price increases into consideration over time, that actually E1 24 months ago was £6, and today it's £9.80. So significant increase of 54% just for that one product. I will say that does take into consideration that it's on Flex, but it's only fair to compare it on Flex because that's what CSP was in 2021. It was all flexible, increase, decrease when you want. So comparing that side by side, like for like, for the same product on the same purchase mechanism, it would be a flexible SKU, and it would therefore have gone up 54%. So quite a big increase, and just one product to give an example. Makes it difficult to budget for cloud-based services. Microsoft have suggested that CSP NCE 3-year SKUs will come to market. We've seen those for Dynamics, and we're waiting to hear further announcements to see when 3-year NCE SKUs will land for the rest of the modern desktop SKUs, hopefully in the new year. I think this gives some, you know, real facts behind the conversation. It's all good talking about percentages of increases, but when you see it in a real world scenario, you can see why there are challenges for customers over the last 24 months when it comes to budgeting for their cloud services. On to the next slide. We should talk a little bit more about Cisilion, things that we can do to help to drive down costs. James, I don't know if you want to take a couple of these, dragging you into the conversation.
No, of course. Sorry, I've been very quiet, Tori. You've been doing such a good job. Yeah, obviously my experience with Cisilion has been very customer focused. I think we got very good touch base with our customers to make sure that they're well aware of what's happening in the Microsoft landscape and how we work with our partners or our customers in order to make sure that we're going in the same direction. We like to, yeah, as I said, work closely with our customers to basically look at their personas, to make sure that whatever they're licensing for in the future and currently makes sense for what their business needs are. A big part of what we do is looking at the cost. We've touched on it quite a lot regarding the commercial impacts that customers face from Microsoft perspective. There's big price increases and consistently going to be a part of the licensing landscape in the future. So any which way that we can help customers alleviate that cost pressure, we were trying to make it as visible and effective as possible. Cisilion are brilliant in the fact that we have very good pre-sales capabilities, and we align our accounts with designated individuals that help them with any deployments, planning, strategy, innovation in the environment across both licensing as well as their cloud footprint and other things within Cisilien's forte. So yeah, I think, is there anything else you want me to touch on there, Tor, or back over to you?
No, I mean it's just good to hear your views, and
Yeah,
you're right that the customer experience is at the heart of our approach at Cisilion. Obviously, we represent the product and licensing team. That you said the word pre-sales, and we are one pre-sales team within an organization. We've got technical pre-sales, a forte of capabilities across the Microsoft stack, whether that be telephony, security, and we can't forget adoption. It's all good investing in Microsoft technologies, but giving customers and organizations the skills and training techniques that they need to be able to ensure that they utilize products, see an ROI, and have an effective adoption program in place.
Too true. Yeah, as you say, I think there's so many different types of licenses and services that Microsoft and other companies provide. If customers aren't able to, fully deploy or utilize those services, then it feels like a waste. So I think where we come in is just that glue to kind of help customers make the most of their investments and see, as you say, that ROI.
Thanks, James. So, David, I'm going to direct my attentions at you and the team. Obviously, we have a partnership. You made a decision to go to market. Can you talk to me a little bit about what drove you to make that decision to go to market and review your partner?
Of course. Well, so the Microsoft licensing stack represents a considerable chunk of our annual operational budget. So it's very important for us internally as a department to be able to demonstrate the value that we're delivering to the business with that expenditure. And the only way to really do that is to be very accurate and concise with our licensing allocation. Everybody knows how complicated the SKUs are for Microsoft. And Tori, as you've shown on a previous slide, the costs are ever increasing. So we sort of decided we really needed to find a partner who not just can complement the skills we have in-house, but can also fill in the gaps with the knowledge that we don't have, to give us that guidance going forward for future-proofing and ongoing with our licensing stack. So we went to market.
Thanks. Next question, I'm going to point at you, Roy, which is why, who? This is the decision was made to work with Cisilion. What was the compelling reason?
Well, I'll ask Jenna to kind of answer that for us, actually, because she was quite involved with that as well, that process.
Oh, sorry, my bad. It's true. I'm asking your question to Jenna. All the prep in the world, still got the questions the wrong way around. So sorry, Jenna. Over to you.
I would say cost is ultimately not the deciding factor of choosing Cisilion. It was the knowledge and the value that you provide. It was that value add, shall we say, than just the simple providing, here's your cost, like for like. You gave us that value.
Yeah, so the user persona mapping, the validation that what you needed, rather than just quoting based on a bill of materials that you had from your previous provider. Yeah. I think any good partners should be doing their due diligence, making sure that those products are fit for purpose, look to utilize frontline SKUs wherever possible, consolidate security products and get that return on investment on the Microsoft suite from an E5 perspective. So probably a very brave question considering that this is live, but how are we doing? Are we living up to those expectations that we set around the value add?
Yeah, I really think you are actually. I think like Jenna kind of highlighted is it's the knowledge that you guys have is really, really detailed, and I love the reporting that you provide for us. So it gives us an in-depth insight of our regards to our licenses, and also it kind of highlights any concerns, and you kind of give us recommendations. For example, I think there was a time where we had one license. I can't remember which one was, but it was basically cheaper to get 2 licenses rather than the 1 license, and that was really, really beneficial to us because obviously there's a cost savings as well. And also in terms of forecasting, because I can also kind of, in terms of forecast for additional headcounts and stuff like that, I got that information which you guys provide for us. So it's kind of easier in that way for us to kind of forecast our and budget for us as well. So it's really good. And the level of support is been great. I must admit, it has been great. So yeah, keep up the good work.
Yeah, no pressure, James.
Yeah, thank you, Roy. Big words there, but I do appreciate it, and I'm sure Cecilia does as well. Thank you.
I think it's the key word is partnership. James mentioned alignment. I think that's evident even in the fact that you're participating in this conversation today. Staying close. We speak to you guys every single month. Jenna and Roy, there's no escaping that invite. We're publishing the data. We do want to understand what's going wrong. If it goes wrong from a license perspective in terms of minimum quantities or increases in costs, managing that is just so important because of the way that Microsoft licensed their various products. We're talking about NCE, but there's obviously a plethora of other types of license available via CSP, whether that's perpetual or subscription. Can't forget Windows and SQL Server, and I was involved when we were doing our initial conversations with Banham, and for me it was super important to understand what were your physical servers doing on-prem, how many cores did they have, and not just to give you a 2-pack license price and say go away, do your thing. Ultimately, I take ownership for you guys being compliant and understanding the rules around licensing. So hopefully, as we said, we continue along our partnership. We stay close. James works with you guys all of the time, and of course I'm here to support as and when needed.
I think Roy touched on quite an interesting topic. If you want to go there now, Tori, we can quickly show you just a little bit of the reporting that we provide on a monthly basis.
I was going to ask one more question first, if that's okay. I mean, we can keep that slide up. It doesn't matter. I was just going to ask David. We highlighted a few things, and thank you guys for the feedback. It's great to hear. But if you could pick one thing, what would you say the best part of the partnership is?
I would say one thing would be just trust. The trust is there, both from a technical side and an operational side. I mean, we've already touched on the ongoing reporting and statistics we get, we cannot understate how useful they are for us to forecast, looking at the trends we're doing. It's so helpful for budgeting, general utilization. Just the metrics we get are incredible. And from the technical side, it almost doesn't feel like you guys are a partner. It feels like you are part of our team. We really feel that ownership on the technical issues that we experience when we get an issue that comes up. Often you guys are on it before us. The proactive reporting, the proactive alerting. It's just a very safe pair of hands for us and sort of very comforting for us as a team.
Thanks, David.
Awesome. Thank you, David.
James, I'll let you steal the show and go through those fantastic reporting services that we're offering.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, this is just a snapshot into obviously what we do. We do a plethora more, as we've highlighted, and I think where we differentiate ourselves and where we help our customers is we do look at their licensing stack with a very close lens on the commercials, as well as obviously your utilization. And we could just give you a high level view of what we're reporting on is basically your co-term summary. Any licenses that you've procured throughout the period of your contract, whether it be 1 year or monthly, we keep a running track to show you month on month what the trends of forecast would look like based on the number of licenses. We would give you a roll up with regards to your total contract value. These are dummy numbers, just to give you an indication of, at the beginning of the contract, you were anticipating £100,000. Your increases throughout the period were 38,000, and your total cost that you have paid for Microsoft licensing across the NCE portfolio would be that 138. And then obviously with the renewal cost, just gives you a high level estimated figure, because obviously we're unsure of how many more licenses, less licenses, etc. you're going to add throughout the period. But factoring in all the information and knowledge that we have in your estate, we give you a rolling month-on-month estimation around what your renewal is, so that you can forecast, so that you can plan with your procurement and your finance to make sure that they're aware come renewal time that this is the numbers that we're looking at. These are just some of the high-level things. We do quite a lot of analytics on our side with regards to the total user count and cost per user. And these are just some of the flavors that we provide as a value add. And we like to run through these on a monthly basis with our customers to make sure that we're close, aligned, and that we trust each other with the information to make sure that we're all in the same boat. Yeah,
thanks for that, James.
High level.
Yeah, I mean, the report is not presented here in all its glory, because it would be too much information for our presentation today. But we obviously provide a breakdown of the individual products. We've called out a change of 10 here, but on the report you would be able to see what products those 10 were in terms of the granular detail. But for the purpose of presenting a high level change, I think this is a snapshot of the actual summary page, isn't it, James? It gives all of the detail. So we can see the number of months remaining dependent upon when contract was. So in your scenario, it's July, and you add on to this every month. So for example, if in November there was another increase of 10, all of those other numbers below would change to reflect that new additional increase of 10 users. Hopefully the wider audience can see the value of this. Obviously, thank you again, Banham team, for highlighting how valuable this information is to you. We're obviously open to continually updating and improving our reporting services. We include the utilization reporting via Power BI dashboards. Microsoft significantly investing in the back end from a usage and analytics perspective. So this isn't taking anything away from other types of reviews and analytics. This is purely commercial view, and hopefully, you know, we we continue to build upon this and see Microsoft take into consideration how complex it is, and the fact that we have to go to extreme lengths to provide these kind of reporting services for customers to have clarity on the commercial landscape and to continue to manage their costs for NCE and CSP services.
I think another thing just to bring back, I know you touched on it earlier, but it's also any new products that are added throughout the term is obviously a key thing that we want to keep track of, any changes or different renewal dates. If, for example, Bantam add a new SKU to their portfolio that they weren't originally on, that contract will then effectively start at a different have a different beginning and end date for their renewal. So we keep tabs across all the different license SKUs and their renewal dates so that we have a rolling tracker of, it could be multiple months of renewing every month based on how it structures. And I think that's one thing that hopefully, as you said, we will get some feedback from Microsoft, hopefully in the new year, regarding how these co-term periods work with the licensing. I think that's one big hurdle that a lot of customers are facing.
Open question to the Bantam team. How does this level of information compare to what you were receiving before from a license management perspective?
It's a lot more detailed, gives us a lot more in-depth information about what we're doing as a business in terms of licensing and productivity. It's more, the value we really get out of it is the planning for the future. Because we can't change what happened last month, but we can at least predict what's going to happen in the future and be able to predict our costs based around information we get from around the business about changes across the business, and we can accurately determine from these reports, okay, well, this is going to come at a cost of this.
Because last month's change impacts all future months.
Yes.
Effectively. Yeah. Okay. Happily offer any kind of commercial reporting activities out to the wider audience. Happy to demonstrate our value as we have to Bantam and the team. So anybody that is struggling with billing, I urge you to obviously reach out, make contact with the Cisilion team, and we would happily take you through what a good reporting service will look like so that you have the visibility, clarity on spend and can accurately budget for the future. I think we're going to wrap up our webinar quite early today. To be fair, I don't want to overextend the conversation beyond the value it's given. I think it's poignant in terms of the value. This is the topic of conversation. This is the challenge that customers face. So unless anyone has any other topics, we'll move on to the ways that this impacts different types of organisations. Obviously, still many ways that you can buy products, and in my opinion, there's no right way, there's no wrong product to choose. Different agreements and different vehicles for purchasing products have a place. So you could quite heavily have some enterprise agreement subscriptions running alongside NCE subscriptions. It depends whether you want to commit to products up front or whether you want to pay for those products up front. So I'd say that, the different vehicles of purchasing products shouldn't just be applied at an organisational level. I think that you should consider the vehicle that you use to purchase dependent upon the need of that purchase, the actual product that you're purchasing, opposed to just the size of organisation that you are. And Cisilion can help support across enterprise agreement. Web Direct is obviously directly built with Microsoft. Doesn't need to say that you didn't need kind of reporting services or optimization services if this was an Azure conversation. So there's still lots of value add services or consultancy services that Cisilion can add for customers that do buy direct. And then we've got Microsoft products and services agreements, which is kind of more the traditional volume licensing routes, also an area that Cisilion can support in. And finally, our forte and the topic of conversation today, CSP and NCE. Calling out some Cisilion benefits on the next slide, talking about our capabilities across the Microsoft stack, not just purely focusing on NCE. So number of advanced specializations, the reporting services go to Azure as well as NCE. We're very much focusing around NCE today. And then the continuous cost analyzation and optimization, staying close, monthly touch points, quarterly business updates. The only way we can keep our customers well informed is to have regular communications. That's just so important to us as an organization. And then the tech team, who I think during my next webinar I should definitely get to attend. They seem to always escape our webinars, but I should definitely get Adam, Justin and the rest of the team involved so that we can present together, because we work so closely together all day, every day. So I think maybe we should bring those bits together, a bit more cohesive in terms of our message. But yeah, 24/7, 365 support is something that, thank you, Roy, for mentioning, because I do think help desk sometimes young unsung heroes. So great to get some feedback for them, and definitely something that I'll pass on to the team. Some clear benefits, hopefully value adds, as Jenna said, in terms of why Cisilion. And onto the final slide, which is for me to say thank you one more time to the team at Banham for participating for today. Preparation, of course, but your time most importantly. So thank you all for attending.
Yeah,
it's our pleasure. And thank you for your services as a partner.
That's what I was going to say. Thank you for your continued service as a customer. So we look forward to continuing our relationship.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I think we'll wrap up. I look forward to catching you on next month's call. To the wider audience, anyone that's got any questions, comments, chats, please reach out to the Cisilion team. I'm not presenting again until the new year, so also going to take this chance to wish the wider audience have a great Christmas, enjoy the festive period, time when everyone gets to down tools. And Banham team, I look forward to catching up with you again later in the week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your support, James.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.